Hello friends, and welcome to jwreasoning.com. Today is Thursday, May 20th, 2021, and I would like to look over the daily text for today from Examining the Scriptures Daily. Here's what it says. I am mild-tempered and lowly in heart, Matthew 11:29. Ask yourself, do I have a reputation for being mild-tempered and humble? Do I willingly do menial jobs to serve others? Am I kind to others? Jesus created a peaceful, inviting environment for his fellow workers, and he enjoyed training them. He encouraged his disciples to ask questions, and he wanted to hear their opinions. Much like plants in a greenhouse, the disciples flourished. They absorbed the lessons that Jesus taught and produced fruit in the form of good works. Do you have a position of authority? If so, ask yourself, what kind of environment do I create at work or at home? Do I promote peace? Do I encourage others to ask questions? And am I willing to hear their opinions? Never would we want to be like the Pharisees, who resented those who questioned them and persecuted those who expressed an opinion contrary to their own. So I want you to notice the context in which this is written. This is comparing those who take on assignments to Jesus Christ and how he treated the disciples and what they did. Take a look again. It says, ask yourself, do I have a reputation for being mild-tempered and humble? Do I willingly do menial jobs to serve others? Well, I have to say, on a congregation level, I see a lot of brothers that are in authoritative positions that served as elders and ministerial servants in particular. But the elders, a lot of them do menial jobs. Some of them, when they get that position, they think they're above that, and they think that's what the servants do. In fact, I remember the old question, when I was first appointed as a ministerial servant, another servant came up to me and he said, how many elders does it take to change a light bulb? And I said, I don't know. He said, none. They get a ministerial servant to do it. And I mean, that's funny. But I remember that being said to me as a ministerial servant. And from that point forward, I had made the decision that if I ever serve as an elder, I will always do the tasks that a ministerial servant did. And I did that. I'm not blowing my own horn, but there were a number of brothers on the body of elders that I served in that would do those things. And I even stayed on the grass mowing schedule when I became an elder because I wanted to have a relationship with those ministerial servants. They were still my brothers. I was still a servant. The further you go up in the food chain in the organization, the more of a servant you should be. Let's face it. Because what am I here to do? Am I here to serve the congregation? A lot of the friends look at it as, oh, well, he took a step up. But every position you get in the congregation, if you're rank and file, you're here to be served. Who serves you? A servant serves you. So a ministerial servant is really a step down. And then the next one will be elder, which is another step down. Because you're getting more and more things thrown on you. You're taking on more responsibility. It doesn't elevate you. It makes you more of a servant. But is this the way the governing body operates? Is this the way they think? Look at this again. Do I willingly do menial jobs to serve others? And then later it compares Jesus Christ to what we should be doing. Well, if these men consider themselves, and not you and I, although I believe we are, they consider themselves to be brothers of Christ. Well, shouldn't they be doing the things that Christ is doing? Shouldn't they be following in the footsteps of Jesus? Isn't that what a Christian does? Let's take a look again. It asks the question, am I kind to others? And then it says, Jesus created a peaceful, inviting environment for his fellow workers, and he enjoyed training them. It doesn't say that he got someone else to do it for him. He trained them. By example, he set the example for us. Of course, with millions of people on the earth, that's nearly impossible. But I grant you that if Jesus were on the earth today, you would see him in the trenches. He would be there with us, working shoulder to shoulder, not in some ivory tower somewhere, protected behind a fence where nobody can get to him. If he were here, he would be serving with us, shoulder to shoulder. I believe that because that's what he did in the first century. But let's keep going. It says, he encouraged his disciples to ask questions, and he wanted to hear their opinions. Does the governing body encourage question asking? Do they want to hear your opinions? They don't care about your opinions. They don't want you asking questions because you need to follow whatever they say. Let's keep reading. Much like plants in a greenhouse, the disciples flourished. Well, the organization would say that we, or I should say the rank and file witness, are the disciples. Is the organization flourishing right now? Perhaps the reason is that they're not following Christ. That's my understanding. But let's keep going. They absorbed the lessons that Jesus taught and produced fruit in the form of good works. Do you have a position of authority? Oh, so now it's getting personal. But let's flip this on its other side and let's point this toward the governing body. Do you have a position of authority? Let's keep reading the text. Do you have a position of authority, it says? If so, ask yourself, what kind of environment do I create at work or at home? Do I promote peace? Well, I think for the most part, the organization tries to promote peace. I think they provide a nice work environment for the brothers and sisters that are up at Bethel. At the Kingdom Halls, they keep the Kingdom Halls clean. For the most part, they try to keep it safe. Let's give them credit where credit is due. I think that overall the organization does a nice job at managing things as far as keeping an environment safe and clean and neat and trying to keep things in an orderly fashion. They do a good job at that. But let's continue reading this text. The next question is, do I promote peace? Yes, I think the organization for the most part promotes peace. They want us all to get along. They want all of the brothers and sisters in the organization to get along well. But look at the next question. Do I encourage others to ask questions? Well, if you've ever worked on a regional building committee, or you've ever worked at the Kingdom Hall, or you've ever done something for the organization, do they encourage you to ask questions? Do they encourage you to say, well, I don't think this is the best way to do it? Maybe you remember this clip.
We should be obedient and submissive, even if what the elders are asking us to do is not the best, most efficient way to do something. Permit me to illustrate this point. Admittedly, the illustration is somewhat exaggerated, but hopefully it will make the point. Please imagine that the elders decide that the outside of the Kingdom Hall needs to be painted, and that all the publishers will be given a small 2-inch paintbrush with which to paint. Now, what could happen? The publishers could get all upset concerning this request of the elders, saying, it is ridiculous that the elders want us to paint with a small 2-inch paintbrush. Consequently, some could start campaigning for the right for everyone to use a 6-inch paintbrush. Others might campaign for using paint rollers to roll the paint on the Kingdom Hall. Still others might start trying to build support for renting and using a paint sprayer to spray the paint on the Kingdom Hall. In another camp, ones might champion the idea of hiring out to a contractor the painting of the Kingdom Hall, while another group is promoting the idea that the Kingdom Hall doesn't even need to be painted. Now, what would be the outcome? The congregation would be divided. The Kingdom Hall would never get painted. Publishers could end up stumbled right out of the truth. The elders would be very discouraged. Jehovah would be sad. And Satan would be made very happy. On the other hand, what if everyone humbly supported the elders, perhaps thinking, there's no scripture that says we can't paint with a 2-inch paintbrush. In fact, Hebrews 13:17 tells us to be obedient and submissive to the elders. So why don't we go ahead and support the elders? Now, what would be the outcome? The Kingdom Hall would get painted. The publishers would get to enjoy a lot of good association because they'd be working together for a long time. The elders would be very encouraged. Satan would be sad. And Jehovah's heart would be made glad.
So, does the governing body encourage others to ask questions? No, they don't. Next, am I willing to hear their opinions? No, they're not. Next, it says, never would we want to be like the Pharisees, who resented those who questioned them and persecuted those who expressed an opinion contrary to their own. So exactly what they're saying we would never want to do is exactly what the governing body is doing. I don't know if you see it or not. I see this crystal clear. Look at it again. Never would we want to be like the Pharisees who resented those who questioned them. What happens when we question in the organization? Exactly what this is saying. The Pharisees persecuted those who questioned them. You will be persecuted. And how? You'll be persecuted by losing your privilege, by being called a troublemaker, by being knocked down, actually put up on the list. You're no longer a servant, but you're being knocked down as far as the organization is concerned, and you'll be oppressed, and you'll be held back. If you go against their authority, ask questions, you may be able to ask. But once you've been given an answer, don't say, well, just one thing, just hear me out. If you say that to a brother, it's over. It's over. So friends, these things really get under my skin. I hope you can see the problem when you read a text like this. Everything is pointed somewhere else. They never look at themselves. It's time for a self-examination. We all need to examine ourselves. Don't you think that the governing body should examine themselves? But they're just like these people that think they're above the law. It doesn't apply to them. They're making the rules, and you'd better abide by those rules. And it's really sad. This is not what Jesus would want for his congregation or his church or his people. This is not what he wants. These men are not following Christ. They are not truly Christian. So friends, I hope you continue to study. I apologize for not making videos as often as I have been in the past. I have a really busy summer. I'm going to continue doing these videos. Please be patient with me. I have many more that are coming, many more in the hopper. Remember, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through him. It doesn't come through an organization, through a group of men, through a man, through no one but Jesus Christ. So please continue to read and study your Bibles, friends, and may Jehovah bless you until we meet again.